I've got a problem with this toilet. Because of where the toilet roll is, people sit on the toilet and twist, and one other time the flange broke. And I came in here and I've got a problem again. So I'm going to take it apart and show you how to fix it. First thing we need to do is turn the water off. Next thing is flush the toilet and hold the lever down to get as much water out as we can. We drained all the water out of there that we could, but there's still some water in the tank, so we take a sponge and a bucket and get the remaining water out. Next thing, get the water in the bowl out. I just use a cup, scoop it out. Get as much as I can and then sponge the rest. Next, disconnect the water line. I put a sponge underneath here to catch any little bit of water that might come out. This is the bolt that's broken. So, or the flange, I'm not sure which is. But this cap comes off, take the nut off, and the washer. Do that on both sides. Next, lift the toilet off. And I'm just going to set it on an old dirty towel. With the toilet off, you can see that the flange is busted. Now we've got a couple options on how to fix that. Your local hardware store has a stainless steel ring that fits right over the flange and you screw it to the floor. These repair kits come with mixed reviews, but it might be worth giving them a try since they're only $5 and it just takes a few minutes to screw it over the top. I decided to just go ahead and change this flange out. The next thing you want to do is put a rag down in the pipe to keep sewer gases from the house or from the septic or sewer system coming up, but also we're going to have to chip this out, and you don't want that getting into the septic or sewer system. I'm going to mark where these screws are just so I can replace the new one in the same place. Thankfully I've got an unfinished basement so we can see the plumbing from the lower side. This elbow goes up to the flange. We've loosened the screws. And now we've got to get the flange off the elbow. These are shims here. I'll reuse those. I cut a groove in the pipe, there, and then I took chisel and hammer and just started chiseling it out. And you can see it's starting to break loose. I just gotta clean this up. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit, just sand it, and make sure that it's a smooth fit, and then I'll go ahead and glue it. You want to install the flange so when it's down in there, it's sitting just the height of the flange off the floor, and then your toilet will sit just right. Now we're ready to install the new flange. I've got my shims in place. We're going to first put on primer on the mating surfaces and then the cement, and we'll be ready to put things back together. Now we're ready to put the primer and the glue on. I put the screws back in so the flange is all secured. Pull the rag out, don't forget that. Center the wax ring in the hole. Now we can put the bolts in place. Just goes in that slot. Turn them perpendicular. And it comes with a plastic washer to hold it in place while you're setting the bowl. There's full instructions on the box of the wax ring. Before setting the toilet, you want to make sure that the base is clean, that there's no wax on it. We're good to go. We're ready to set the toilet, and it helps to have a spotter, especially since I left the tank on. But go ahead and lift it in place, and you've got to get those bolts to go through. And then you just wiggle it back and forth with your body weight. To secure it in place. Make sure it's straight, and we're ready to secure it. Put the plastic washer on, and the metal washer, and the nut, and do the other side. When tightening these down, the toilet is snug on the floor, so you just want to snug these down, just barely, so it holds it in place. You don't want to tighten it too tight, or you'll bust the plastic flange, or you can crack the porcelain. That's good. Now I'm going to saw these off, because they're too long, so I can get the cap on. You don't have to saw all the way through, you can just break them off. Install the cap, and we just hook our water line back up, just hand tight. Turn the water on and check for any leaks. She's dry as a bone. Tank's not leaking. flush and check. Works great. Put the cover back on the tank, and she's all done. If this video was a help to you, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And I look forward to helping you with other projects online.